All right, we're back on it. My name is Flavius Maximus. I'm here with my co-host, the Ghost of Ishmus X. What up?
Yes, issue X.
What up, Ghost?
Always on that ish. What up,
Mhm.
Flav?
Always the voice of reason, most of the
Yeah,
time.
you are. You are always the voice of reason, actually. Voice of controversy, the voice of reason. What a mix, right?
Word, word.
So, so what's going on, man?
Well, our last discussion, we were talking about Tupac, and the crux of the discussion was, was he a street dude? Um, some people assume yes. Some street dudes say no. You had some reasons for saying no. I'd like to start
Well,
there.
so I don't think I really said no.
Okay.
I think he certainly evolved into the street dude after he got into the music industry. I don't necessarily
Um,
know that he grew
okay.
up a street dude. You know what I mean?
So when
And
you
and what I
say
mean by
after,
I don't know that he go on.
okay, go ahead.
Well, what I mean by I don't know that he grew up a street dude,
Mhm.
and again, I'm only comparing what I think is a relatable experience to his. But obviously, I'm not Tupac, but
Mhm.
I grew up in the streets,
Mhm.
but I wasn't a street dude, right? Like I grew
Okay.
up on the block with the dudes that were real street dudes or would become real street dudes. Actually, I grew up while they were becoming, you know, before they became those dudes, while they were becoming those dudes. Like I was right there with them. I just wasn't what you would consider a street dude in the sense that I wasn't doing street dude stuff.
Okay. I got you. You weren't doing what they were doing.
Right. I was
Okay.
there. I just wasn't doing it. I mean,
Okay.
I've done some dumb things
Hmm.
that some of the dumb things that you do as in the street growing up as a kid, you know what I mean?
Right.
Stealing a car or what have you. You understand what I'm saying? I've done
Hmm.
that. But like
Okay.
I wasn't hustling. I
Okay.
wasn't selling work. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Not as a teenager.
Okay. So, okay.
I think Tupac might have been a street dude in that sense for sure. Like how we all come up. We know dudes. We know people. We go outside. You understand what I'm saying?
A street dude, as in what he was doing, what you were doing, like hanging with the street dudes?
Yeah, sure. You know, just by virtue of like we live in the same hood, we're friends, we grew up together.
Okay. Okay.
And yeah, if I'm with you and we got problems, I'm with you. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay. And so when you say he didn't start, uh, but I want to get your words right. He didn't start being a street dude, moving in the streets. What language do you want to use?
Yeah, that's fine. You can say that.
Okay.
Moving, not necessarily in the streets, but moving like a street dude.
Okay. He didn't start moving like a street dude until his rap career. You said right?
Right.
Okay. And
That's
you
my
know,
that's my understanding.
that's your understanding. Okay. And I got some information that seems to corroborate what you've been saying, that he indeed began recording. This actually says in 1987, but his professional entertainment career did not take off until the early 90s when he debuted in Digital Underground's Same Song from the soundtrack to the 91 film Nothing But Trouble, and also appeared with the group in the film. So Tupac doesn't. So when you say you mean he didn't start moving in the streets until his career started taking off, right? You don't mean when he started recording.
Right. Till his career started taking off.
Okay.
When he started getting around people that this is just obviously my opinion. I don't know the
Okay.
guy. I'm not in the industry. Obviously you know that. My
Right.
opinion, just from what I saw and only what, I can assume, putting pieces together. When he started moving with dudes that could corroborate the image he was portraying.
Okay.
Associating with the type of people that by association corroborates the image he was portraying.
Now that's actually very interesting that you say that, because let's get to that.
Mm-hmm.
Now that makes me have to back up some info. So Tupac has been quoted as saying, and maybe this was recording and not by the time he started actually getting famous or by the time he was professionally involved musically. But Tupac has been quoted as saying, all the early hip hop was like that real positive kind of Afrocentric hip hop. And if you've heard his early stuff, you've heard, Tupac raps that are very Afrocentric,
Hmm.
very positive, uplifting. And then he's quoted as saying, but once he heard, and I don't know if he is given props to like NWA or who exactly he's given props to, but he says once he heard certain music, aka certain gangster music, he was happy because then his lyrics could match the life he was living, is what he says. These
So
are
that's
his words.
interesting, right? That's
Yeah,
interesting that he says that.
yeah.
You know, first of all, rest in peace, Tupac, one of the greatest
Mm-hmm.
ever.
R.I.P.
I don't necessarily know, and I'm just keeping it real. Like I just don't know how much validity there is to that, and only because like we're just kind of examining this. So if I look at it from my perspective, right, I
Mm-hmm.
see a guy that then, or is he saying that the type of music he made early on was based upon just solely the influences of other artists who were making the same type of music, not that like let's be real, right? Like he had a hard life, as we know.
Mm-hmm.
He grew up moving around and dealing with different issues in a situation with his mom, but
Mm-hmm.
he also had a very woke life as well,
Okay.
based upon his lineage and
Mm-hmm.
who he came from, and his mother, his parenting. He certainly had a life that would, this is a guy who wrote poetry
Mm-hmm.
and who endeavored to be in the performing arts.
Yeah.
So I would imagine that while you can say the things that he said, and I'm not saying his statement is invalid or correct, I can't
Mm-hmm.
know that,
Mm-hmm.
but but this is someone who you would have to imagine. I mean, you're artistic, you're creative, I'm artistic, I'm creative. You would have
Mm-hmm.
to imagine the things that you put forth, especially when you were younger, would come directly from the things that influence you,
Okay.
because those things are in you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Knowledge of self, uh poetry, uh you know Afrocentrism. These things are also in him. So I'm a little younger than Tupac, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when I grew up listening to hip hop, there was more than just, especially because I'm younger than Pac. Well, I remember in the early '90s, exactly what Tupac is talking about became the crux of hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
But going into that, you had party music. You even had this gangster period prior to the early '90s, right? With
Okay.
like your NWAs and your. So what I'm saying is the same variety that was accessible to you, especially because Tupac is a New York, LA transplant, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we're talking, you get the broadest variety of music available to you.
Wait, you're making good points, but
Hmm.
we might play ourselves by messing with the timeline. When Tupac
Hmm.
says that he liked when gangster rap came on the scene because then he could rap about what he was living, I
Hmm.
never actually said 90s though, right?
No. I'm only saying that because I'm speaking to him starting out singing more positive type, conscious type music.
Okay. Okay.
That's what I'm speaking to, not the gangster side,
Yeah.
just the conscious side. And that it kind of, I think his statement kind of translates as, so that's what he was doing until he was able to get to a point where, the gangster stuff was. And so for me, that timeline is such that, well, Tupac's what, 4 years older than me, right? 71. So he would have been 4 years older than me. So like when I was 8, he would have been 12.
Hmm.
So at that time period, we're talking 8, 9, 10, around that era. We're talking, if we're talking, and I don't know what he was influenced by, but again, as a New York to California transplant, right? We're
Hmm.
talking let's say I was 12 and he was 17,
Okay.
right? So we're talking NWA. Like we're talking the height of NWA.
What
Like straight out of Compton NWA.
What year is that?
88, 89.
Okay.
I was 13 in 89.
Okay, you're 13 in 89. That means he's
18.
17.
18.
He's 5 years older than you.
17.
Okay.
17.
Okay, so he's 17 in 89. So in 89, when he's 17, that's when he moved to the Bay.
Yep.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is my best guess would be his influences were broad and varied. And as young people are wont to do, right? We find ourselves creatively recreating the things that have influenced us in another form or fashion.
Mm-hmm.
Then as we get older, we kind of blossom into our own, or we're more attracted to, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So,
okay. So that's what I think his point was like, whatever the timeline is, somewhere around the late 80s, he is hearing all of this Afrocentric hip-hop, whenever that was big, and he's recreating that. And like you said, he's got the Black Panther lineage. He grew up a certain way, so he's able to spit that from, from a real background, from a real sense.
I mean, we're talking about a guy who's an exception to the rule across the boards, right? Like he grew up a certain way and yet still was attracted to poetry and to performing arts. And you understand what I'm saying?
Well, I was going to get to that because a lot of the people who claim he's not street use poetry and dancing as a way of saying that he's not. But I was going to eventually get to what you're saying, is that he was kind of, this anomaly. Whereas, he's this kid growing up in these situations and living a really hard life. And he says that he's raised by pimps and hustlers and thieves and thugs, and that these were his father figures. These are the people that raised him up in the streets, whatever that means, if we're going to give that to him or not. So, but at the same time, yeah, he's attracted to poetry. He's attracted to the arts, and who knows? Like some people, like we've discussed, when they think about acting, they think about being on the stage, and they kind of look down upon, movie or television actors. And then some people do it all, what have you. I mean, he certainly took to the actual stage, was doing his Shakespeare thing, was the best actor in every school that he was in. So I could see the argument that, no, this person was a serious stage actor, was seriously into the arts, not just some thug who was doing acting on the side or something. So I could see...
Even on top of that, right?
Yeah.
It takes, like, he could code switch. And code switching is a skill that comes from having, especially as you're in your formative years, having access to broad variety of people and culture.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not trying to box anyone in. There aren't many people who just grew up straight gangster that can just code switch without practicing and work. And what I mean by that is Tupac was accepted in so many different levels of the entertainment. I mean, the guy kind of, it's rumored he dated Madonna. So this was a guy.
That's not a rumor.
Well, okay. I didn't want to. I kind of don't think it's a rumor either. But I didn't want to just say it just in case. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I got you. Yeah, that's been that's been verified by many sources.
This is someone that could.
By the way, he dated a lot of other famous women as well.
Right. He could turn off gangster when necessary, right? Like he could turn it off. You see what I'm saying? Or as we see, in post, at the height of his career, could turn it on.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? He could you know, a lot of people put a negative connotation on code switch. I don't. I think it's the skill set, right? To be able to navigate different environments and different cultures and to be able to adapt and adjust to the
Yeah,
changes
yeah.
and thrive.
I also think we're describing something that never really had language before, and it was just common sense before,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Like, you know, you're watching Tony, you're watching The Sopranos or whatever, and these gangsters that are, you know, killing people and burying the bodies are are having tender moments with their daughters and sons,
Hmm.
and you know, people people live different lives, and they react differently in different situations. I mean, you
Right.
even probably know people who are a totally different personality at work, depending on the level of responsibility, what's expected of them, what they expect of others, how they have to meet deadlines and get things done, and the language and the energy and turn up they use to get their point across. You might be shocked
Well, it's
at someone
nuanced though.
who's sometimes there are sharp, yeah, no doubt. There's definitely nuance, though sometimes it's like, whoa, that's like a bit different than what I expected of this person. But yeah, there's certainly nuance.
You know, sometimes you have people who just really don't know how to leave the street, so to speak, when they're in another environment
Certainly, certainly. Yeah,
or whatever the cultural equivalent of the street is, depending on who we're talking about. You know what I mean? Not necessarily just like people from the street, but just whatever that may be. Some people just don't know how to.
it could be someone from the hood. It could be someone. Yeah, it doesn't have to be street like in the streets, but it could be. Yeah, it could be someone who, you know, doesn't know how to turn off the energy that they put forward in the neighborhood to protect themselves or navigate when they're in a situation where that's going to be seen as like, well, you got to get out of here, or seen with fear, or, you know, you can't be in this public place behaving that way or something.
Right, right.
People who don't know how to turn that on and off, or don't know how to code switch, I think they're either going to have a difficult time, or it's going to be the kind of person who does not have a traditional job or something like that. You know,
Hmm.
people that you know that are like, no, I can't do a 9 to 5. You know, it's, you know, there are definitely different people like that. Some people uh, are bosses or like artists or something like that. Some people they just cannot take, you know, cannot take someone telling them what to do or something like that. So there's different levels of you know, code switching and everything.
It's interesting because I encounter, and I've been able to code switch for the majority of my life because while I grew up in the hood, I also grew up in other environments. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I was able to put myself or be put in other environments for significant periods of time around other cultures and other people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, some by choice, some not by choice. And
Right.
then obviously traveling the world, being in the military. So I'm very good at it. However, I can tell you that in my, you know, presently, there is one situation where, you know, I absolutely carry myself a certain way, but sometimes I feel like, you know, I'm speaking of a specific situation that happened 2 years ago where I was choosing to be very graceful. You know what I mean? Like choosing just to be very graceful. And,
Mm-hmm.
you know, a friend of mine who I hadn't interacted with up until that point for, I don't know, I'd say 15 years,
Mm-hmm.
you know, he was unwittingly and unknowingly taking advantage of me being graceful.
Okay.
And he'd get away with saying things that, and I remember one day we were alone. We were working and we were alone, and I snapped on him. My wife had to talk me off the ledge, and the reason why I snapped on him is because something in me just was like, wait a minute. Nowhere else in life would I let anyone get away with saying some of the things that I just wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
So if you get away with it once or you get away with it twice, okay. But now if I allow a precedent to be set, right?
Hmm.
It's just gonna keep happening.
Yeah.
And in my head, I just kept thinking, like, wait a minute, like I'm not, you know what I mean? If I was on my block, I'm not no street dude. But if I was
Hmm.
on my block, I understand the rules in that environment, right? Like
Yeah.
I can't be fooled. I'm
Hmm.
not going to be. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I'm not gonna be. If I was still in the military, I am not going to be. So I sometimes feel like I have to remind this specific group of people of some of the negative aspects of who I am. Like,
Sure.
not that you have to be threatened by it, but you need to be careful how you choose to interact with me, because you understand what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
just be aware that when you choose to interact with me a certain way, if you get away with it, it's because I'm being graceful, not
Hmm.
because you think it's something you can get away with.
Right.
And those are times where I'm compelled to switch right back to the old man, that old code. You know what I mean?
Sure.
To,
Sure.
like, so there's that. But anyway, I think with that's a digression, and it is a digression.
Yeah, no, I mean it's there's a reality to that, right? We've seen movies made about that, like A History of Violence or something like that, where a character gets pulled into an old lifestyle just so he could protect his family or this and that, but he has reasons for avoiding the old lifestyle. So I guess the question becomes, at what point does a person like Tupac, who is increasingly immersing himself in the streets, at what point does he go from being someone who's adjacent or putting himself in a situation to where he can actually claim, I am of this thing?
So who knows the exact point? I kind
Right.
of get the sense, like I said off air, I kind of get the sense that once he started rolling with certain people, and once
Yeah.
he adopted, I don't necessarily want to say adopted, but once he embraced out,
Hmm.
let's say that he does have street cred
Hmm.
before this. So let's say once he really embraced, right, that in my situation there were times where, especially when as a young adult, I was able to embrace aspects of the street because I grew up adjacent.
Hmm.
So I could just jump into the game and did.
Right.
No one was gonna be like, yo, why is Ish? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like no one was gonna question that because I was always there. You
Hmm.
understand what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
let's say he embraced this aspect of himself, right?
Hmm.
I'll say what I said off air. It is my contention that I think once he embraced it, I get this mentality where it's all in because I haven't lived my whole life like this, right? So
Hmm.
you have this do unto you before you do to me mentality.
Hmm.
Like it's everything is in extremis because one, you have a point to prove. You see what I'm saying? Like
Hmm.
the point is like I'm not gonna be your fool.
Right.
So not only am I in, but I'm all the way in. Like it's kind of like playing catch up, so to speak,
Hmm.
right? Like not
Yeah.
only am I gonna play catch up, I'm gonna move past you and do it better than you did it.
Yeah.
That's what I would contend was Tupac's mentality when
Hmm.
he did embrace that side.
Now,
You
of
know, you hear a lot
course,
of stories about Tupac is the first to set it, and
yeah.
Tupac always had the things, and you know what I mean?
Hmm. Yeah. Hmm. Certainly. Certainly. Um, then there's also the other side where he was trying to organize the streets in a certain way. He had this whole master plan to like go to the heads of like all of the what he called like block captains or like, you know, the people who were either the heads of gangs or like the heads of their blocks or the heads of their neighborhoods or whatever. And he wanted to hold court with all of these people and speak to them and kind of develop kind of like rules for the neighborhood, like rules for the hood, like so that there would be no more innocent people and kids getting hurt in drive-bys and things like that. Um, that if people had problems with each other, they had to figure out a way to do it so that innocent people wouldn't be caught up in the middle. And then he wanted to do things like develop these neighborhood football teams and like, kind of like broker some kind of like peace or like unity that way, or at least have times where no violence was allowed, and like different political things that he was trying to do. And of course he had knowledge of like politics and what amendments or what do you call those, they vote on them in California all the time to affect the laws. He was like bringing forth these to the public, telling people to vote no on this certain, uh, piece of legislation, so we can keep affirmative action going and things like that, and trying to use his power as a person in the public eye who sold millions of records to get millions of followers to vote on these, to vote on these amendments in a
Well,
certain way.
it was inevitable, right, for Tupac to lean that way, because we're talking about a guy who, a guy with conviction and a conscience, right?
Yeah,
So he can't, and on top of which, it would be impossible for him to just forget that part of himself, that
yeah,
conscious part of himself. Like, now I'm in this and I'm doing this, but on the same token, as a man of conviction, do I have a responsibility to make something positive out of this? Because this is someone who critically thinks. He would have to, because he's been exposed to so many different sides of the Black experience, right? Like, a lot of people have exposure to an element or another.
uh-huh.
Tupac was fortunate enough to have been exposed to so many different sides of the Black experience that cultivated and created, kind of cultivated him. So while he was able to embrace some of these, gangster aspects, he also still had these conscious aspects that were, I still contend, were up from his formative years.
Yeah, yeah. Well, certainly. I mean, certainly that's where you would argue they came from. And interestingly enough, for him, it wasn't just, and there's definitely other rappers out there too, who
Yeah,
you
yeah, for
realize are
sure.
like this, but it wasn't just rapping about this stuff, but actually going into the community, doing
Hmm.
and organizing, which other rappers definitely have too, and they don't always make noise about it, so you don't always know unless unless you know, or unless you dig.
So yeah, I again, my thoughts are, I don't. It's hard for me to say he didn't have street cred prior to, because, like, how do you evaluate street cred? Like, I imagine there's this definition that is accurate, that has to do with, actually putting in work in the street, right?
Sure,
But then
sure,
there's this other definition that just comes with, your credibility in the street,
right,
be it from putting in work or just being, you were associated with. You understand what I'm saying?
yeah,
By association or what have you.
sure,
So I think, it's hard to tell somebody to say that somebody is or isn't a thing, right? Like, you don't
sure,
have to run with a crew
right,
and you don't even, and from my perspective, you don't even have to have a reputation or be well known to be street.
okay,
You could just be that solo urchin, so to speak, who gets it how he gets it until he makes it.
yeah. I guess from what you're saying, there's still going to, at the very least, be some sort of record in the street, right?
Or maybe not. So what I'm saying is, and anybody can certainly take me to task and or educate me otherwise for sure. What I'm saying is that the streets don't raise everybody the same.
Okay.
They don't give everybody the same parents, metaphorically. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? They don't.
Yeah.
Everyone doesn't always get the same lineage. Just because you didn't, you weren't gangster or with a crew and putting in work, that just means your street lineage is different than the next dude who came up
Okay.
in the street, who might have been homeless, who might have had it. They might have taken a different route that you did, but that
Mm-hmm.
makes them no less street. There's
Right.
just that one aspect of being street that I guess requires reputation or credibility. That's just
Okay.
one aspect. You know what I mean? Like the streets raise people differently. They don't raise everyone the same.
Okay.
That's something that I'm on record as saying, and anyone who wants to take me to task on that can. But
Mm-hmm.
so many people have been raised in the streets and weren't necessarily gangsters.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
many people put in work in the street, but not by definition of not according to the definition that say a gangster would use.
Well, I mean, there's pimps, there's prostitutes, there's thieves,
There's
there's
people who just saw
hustlers.
struggle and made it,
Right.
did what they had to do, fended for themselves, and just made it, or didn't make it, got swallowed. You know what I mean? So yeah, you're right. We're talking about gangster activity, but I don't think gangster activity validates being raised by the street or being street, or even is the sole validation of street cred.
Right. Right.
Like I'm sure gangsters would contend. You understand what I'm saying? But I just, I've seen people, I'm thinking of a girl in particular whose name I'm not going to say, who's been on her own. She's, my age, but she had been on her own since she was 14. And, she didn't run with a crew or anything, but she was no less a hustler and,
Mm-hmm.
and was raised by the streets and has done
Right.
some of, everything that you can imagine. And if I would never say she doesn't have street cred or isn't street if that's something she's using as a descriptor, I wouldn't contend.
Right.
I wouldn't be like, no, you're not. Your experience doesn't, amount to what the definition of street is, because it's just
Mm-hmm.
one definition, and the definition has to be broader.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It has to be. I'm not saying it has to be. I'm meaning I'm not. Ish is not saying, oh, it's got to be bigger than that. I'm saying that my understanding is that it would have to be a broader definition, because that means that the only people who could be street are people who live just the specific way. Well, that
Yeah.
can't be the case. There's a lot of people who aren't gangsters and who don't hustle or put in work like you define it in the street, who are probably as street as you because they were
Well,
raised by the streets.
well, and to go there, I mean, he's specifically said that he's not a gangster.
Right. Well, there
He's
you have it.
he specifically said that, which is another interesting thing, because I feel like there's gangster and then there's like a gangster, which is like, not to try to play verbal games, but it seems like
I
there
think they
is,
overlap.
yeah, but it seems like there is a difference, right? Like I feel like you could be gangster but not be a gangster,
Okay.
in the way that people describe you, at least. But
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
that could be different worlds. That could be different worlds using language that, if you use that language over here, maybe it means a very specific thing, and if you use it over there, maybe it's more general. Like that was some gangster shit, right? But certainly out of his mouth, he said that he's not a gangster, which, of course, again, being on the West Coast, we know that there's a very specific thing. Like, someone like Snoop says that he's a gangster, right? At least in his rhymes, whatever. Maybe there's a difference in how he speaks about himself when he's not rhyming, but he's a gangbanger. I mean, not active anymore, but he's actually a member of a gang, whereas technically Pac never was, even though he's rolled with people in gangs for a long time. Certainly pre-death row, he was rolling with
Henchmen.
Crips, I think. Well, henchmen. Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, that's for sure. I mean, I guess I don't want to use, I don't want to keep using henchmen as an example because that kind of went awry, and I think there were some questions as to where the loyalties lied there and if people were being used and like this and that. But the people that stayed loyal to him, that didn't you know, cross his back or anything like that, like the Outlaws, um, and people like that out of Jersey. Um, some of his people early on were Crips, I think, including. Wait, no, am I getting it? Yeah, some of his people were Crips early on, um, including maybe some of the Thug Life guys, and that created some awkwardness when he eventually got with Suge, who's technically not a blood, but he's Pyru, which has that overlap or whatever. But I guess I'm saying all of this to say that the story that is often painted that all of a sudden Tupac started wilding out when he went to death row and got all involved in gangs and that led to his demise is not a fair description of what actually happened. Tupac was already rolling with people who were gang members, already affiliated in various forms. And really, to me, I think one of the reasons that he went all in, like you're saying, was because he wanted protection from those guys you just mentioned, Jimmy Henchman and all that, and the people who, maybe more specifically Haitian Jack and, some of those other guys, Tut and all of those guys, whoever was involved. He wanted protection from those folks. And I think he wanted to prove himself like, look, I'm real with this shit. I'm going to help you do whatever you have to do, to the death, and you do the same for me. And for what it was worth, whether that was necessary is, I guess his business. But certainly when I mentioned him being beat up by the cops caused one change in him, certainly getting shot at Quad Studio caused another. And his friends described him as being paranoid after that. Some people strongly disagree with some of the assertions he was making, like his boy Big Stretch. Some people disagree that Big Stretch switched sides on him and was moving funny, but some of his boys totally agree with him and say that Big Stretch was bringing messages from the enemy saying, get your money up if you're going to go to war and stuff like that. Particularly Napoleon from the Outlaws said him and his boys in Jersey were very uncomfortable the way Big Stretch was moving, but they looked up to Tupac, and out of respect for Tupac, they didn't do anything. But if it wasn't for Tupac, like in their circles, the way they moved, something would have popped off if someone was coming back and forth bringing messages, from the enemy like that. Some people even say, which, allegedly, some people say the fact that Big Stretch died like exactly on the anniversary of Tupac getting shot at Quad Studios was a message from Tupac involved, but some people say that totally had nothing to do with Tupac, and that was just Big Stretch getting double crossed by those same guys that he started running with when he moved away from Pac. Now with Big, part of his problem was like Big Stretch was really tight with Tupac, like that Pain song. That's like one of the big songs everyone loves. That was on like, either the Murder Was the Case soundtrack or the Above the Rim soundtrack. I forget which one. But him and Big Stretch were part of the Live Squad. And that was like, those guys were really thick as thieves. And after the shooting, that guy started like moving more with Big and stuff like that. And that kind of helped create some of his paranoia. Like, why are you messing with that guy when we're supposed to be cool? And I'm not really messing with him right now. But that was some of the street stuff involved. But I kind of like, it's like, hey, if you think your life's in danger and you think you have to move a certain way with certain people who you think can provide you with protection, I guess it makes sense. Whether or not it turned out right, I can't say.
And with that last part having been said, not everybody wants to just be protected. You feel like your life's in danger, you need to put certain people around you for protection, but you also want to protect yourself, right?
Yes.
Not everybody, but you
Yeah,
have
yeah.
those people that are like, yeah, I'm putting people around me, but I'm gonna handle it too.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
sure.
be right at the forefront handling it as well. You know what I mean? I'm not just gonna fall back and be protected.
Yep. Now he had some interesting stories in between where he was moving a certain way before he started playing more aggressive. Did you hear the story about Jasmine Guy helping hide Pac?
Nope. I know that he had a relationship. I don't know what the extent of the relationship was, if it was just friendship or what have you, but I know that he did have a relationship with Jasmine Guy.
Yeah, a lot of the relationships are like that. I never know what the extent is, but I know that he's either very good friends with someone or it's
Left
people.
Eye, Jasmine Guy,
Mhm.
Jada Pinkett.
Right. Yeah, it's like I never really knew what the deal was. I mean, I kind of felt like, I don't know if there was, I don't know if it was more. I mean, I know with Madonna, it was more. I know that there was a straight up relationship, and I know some other celebrities that he, had a relationship or at least, encounters with. But yeah, some of the other ones seemed like it was even deeper than that. Like it was a deep friendship. Um, but yeah, Jasmine Guy helped hide Tupac, and they like Outlaws and Tupac would stay at the crib, and they would watch out for who was coming and going, and only certain people could go there because they didn't want anyone's big mouth like blowing the spot up or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's another story. Wish I could remember who it was. I don't know if it was Marlon Wayans talking about this, because Marlon Wayans had a relationship with Tupac.
Yeah, Since
But,
Above the Rim, right?
oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I don't know if it was Marlon Wayans, but
It's the best line in that movie when Marlon Wayans looks at Tupac. He's like, "Man, you need a role model."
yeah, that was a great. Okay, so all right, so yeah, now you're reminding me of Marlon Wayans' skills, because he was
Yeah,
good. He was good in that. Okay,
yeah.
now I remember what else he was good in, and that was, I mean, it had some humor, but that was a dramatic role though. That was humor and drama. So yeah, maybe like you said, they just need people to write for them. Maybe he should get more into the drama and stop trying to be, I don't want to say stop trying to be funny because he's a comedian, but you know what I mean. Maybe branch out a little bit and definitely let other people write for him too, because that's
Yeah.
maybe a different skill that not everyone has. But so anyway, someone was saying that Tupac had this thing where he would stay in these halfway houses, like I feel like they were like for the mentally ill or something. And I don't know if it was in Flatbush or somewhere like that, but he would crash at these places where, he figured no one would think he would be staying there. That was like part of his strategy. So I mean, that life was certainly a life where you had to like duck and hide to stay alive.
So, what was it? Do you know that put him in that position where he had to be fearful for his life? I understand he was shot.
Well, okay, so You mean like leading up to the shooting, or afterwards, or during, or?
Afterwards, you know, that led him hiding out in halfway houses and living places secretly in the whole night.
I mean, yeah, I think it's just stems from. I mean, those guys were heavy. I mean, you said it yourself. People were afraid of those guys. The people that were involved in shooting him, those guys were no joke. I mean, those guys were. They were. What's the word? Extorting like half of the industry, including. Now, some say they were specifically extorting Puff, and that Puff needed Big to like make more money, or some say that they were both involved in getting extorted. But either way, like, yeah, these guys were heavies, and they were dangerous people. So yeah, Pac was hiding out. Supposedly,
I mean, it's easy for me to say on the outside looking in, but it could never be me.
well, shit, Tupac said the same thing. I mean,
No, but
he
I
had
mean, if I was a Puff Daddy, and I don't know
Oh, if you were
one way or
Puff.
the other.
Oh,
Yeah, it
oh,
just
I
couldn't be
see.
me. Like, you're not extorting me. I have enough money to make you go away.
Well,
Like, some kid is gonna
actually,
take.
that is a great. Okay, so that's very interesting because maybe that's part of why Puff was so ambitious to make lots of money with Big, right? Like at one point. Okay, actually, that's great that you said that.
Like, I
So,
certainly don't think anyone could touch Puff right now.
shit. If anyone thinks of touching Puff right now, they're gone before they even draw the first plan. That's how much money Puff has.
Right,
No,
right.
no one is even thinking like the algorithm will.
Changed.
You'll get laser eyed by even thinking of it. The algorithm will catch on to what you're thinking. However, remember that statement that Pac put in his lyrics, and that Napoleon said that Big Stretch came and said that those guys said to Pac, like, you know, you can't go to war. You don't want to go to war with us until you get your money right. Maybe Puff didn't have his money right back then, so there's nothing he could do. Remember, if these guys are extorting half of the industry, that's a lot of fucking money they're generating. And these guys had all types of whips and like, chains, and like these guys were like rich. These guys were rich. I mean, Jimmy Henchman, even supposedly just the legit part of his business, he represented like half of the industry. You see him taking pictures with everyone.
Right.
And there was a great documentary with him.
So you're saying at that point,
Puff couldn't do anything. He didn't have the money to. But I think who did was Suge, who owned fucking Death Row Records. Now remember, as much as we thought Puff was a big deal, Puff owned part of a label owned by a subsidiary of another label.
Well, I mean, I remember, like, I didn't really even think he was a big deal at the time. Remember, and you might not remember this, but I remember when, Biggie would say Diddy, and everyone would be like, who is Diddy? Who is he referring to? You know what I mean? Like, Biggie used to, and that's when people started becoming aware of Puff Daddy.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, like commercially aware of Puff Daddy. Because Biggie used to call him out, shout out his name.
Yeah, and then when you saw him in all the videos and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's how he got his name out there. Once you realize, oh wow, all these great artists are all associated with the same person. But
right.
But yeah, I don't think he didn't have money to go to war with the Jimmy Henchman type. They just didn't have that kind of money. And even Tupac didn't. Tupac didn't have the money at that point either. So
well, I don't think Tupac, and this is just my thoughts on it, could totally be wrong. I don't think Tupac ever had a real excess of money anyway.
I think
Not
you're,
that he didn't
yeah,
make a lot of people money that
no,
he
no.
didn't actually have.
Yeah, I think you're right. And even when Tupac made a lot of money, he gave a lot of shit away. He was
Hmm.
like, I mean, people were living in his homes around the country, and he was, yeah, yeah, you're right. I mean, some of the, and then he had all of these problems with the law that he was paying for. So that shit was expensive too. So even when Suge Knight
Yeah,
bailed him out of jail for a certain amount of money, over $1 million or $1.4 million, that Tupac's punk ass record label didn't even bail him out. Interscope didn't even bail him out. Like, Suge and Snoop had to fix that whole situation. But even when he started making a lot of money from millions of records he's selling from All Eyes on Me, he's paying back Suge for all that money that he spent on bailing him out. He's paying all these crazy fees he has from all these run-ins with the law. And a lot of these guys, the death row guys, were notorious for not even having uh, cars and homes in their own name. I
yeah, they were
think,
in Suge's wife's name.
yeah, I think Snoop tells the story of getting pulled over by the police and them, mentioning another name, and Snoop being like, "What? What are you talking about? This is my car." And they're
Yeah,
like,
that's when Snoop started having friction with Death Row because he didn't really have money. He
"Yeah,
had
yeah, yeah,"
he had items, watches, and
that
jewelry,
weren't even his.
and things that were in Suge's wife's name.
Yeah, yep. And that's old. Like even in like Cadillac Records, I feel like there's a scene where, or if not Cadillac Records, maybe I'm thinking of something else. But shit, am I thinking of the same
Everything Etta James
movie?
owns was what was in the white boy's name.
Oh, okay. I just remember one of those movies. There's a scene where a smooth talking record exec gives gives a car to you know gives a car to his artist
Yeah,
instead of paying him.
and Cadillac Records, if you remember, everyone that he had on that label
Had a
were,
Cadillac.
with the exception of the guy Wolf, who
Okay,
refused it. And at the end, he was the only one who wasn't broke. Remember, he showed up when the guy
right.
died and they couldn't pay for his funeral, and he paid for it. And they were trying to figure out where he got his money. And he was smart with his money. Like
Okay,
he did not, he didn't take these bonuses that they took that they had to pay back. And you understand what I'm saying?
right,
So
right, right.
he was the only one who didn't take the car.
Yeah, but that is they've been doing record execs have been doing people dirty like that for forever, forever. I think Sam Cooke was one of the first black men to really control his destiny in the music industry,
Yeah, and he
like
died for it.
where he was not getting played and he was actually getting paid.
And he died for it.
Oh, you think that was a suspicious death?
Yeah, I don't know who I was talking to recently. We were just talking about how he was getting ready to organize and put powerful or prominent black artists under his label. Was it you? I was recently just talking to someone, and
Wasn't
that was the
me. I
discussion
didn't
that
know.
came up where
No,
he was getting ready. That was the thing that he was about to do. He started
no,
messing with their money.
it wasn't me. I think it was the same person who told you Homelander was afraid of his kid.
No, that was you.
That was not me. That
That
was
was you,
not
bro.
me.
That
I
was you.
swear that was not me.
Yeah, that was you.
That thought never entered my head.
Oh yeah, that was you.
That was not me.
It was
I don't see that
definitely you.
I don't see that kid as powerful like that, and I don't see Homelander as afraid like that. So that thought would have never crossed my mind. I know how I think. That thought would have never
Oh, do you?
crossed my mind. I do.
Do you know how you think?
I do.
You sure?
Homelander is afraid of his son. Why?
I mean, that's kind of how I inferred. That's the inference I got
No, no,
from
no,
the conversation that we had. Maybe
no.
you didn't say as much, but you definitely left me with that feeling like, oh,
No, I think my internet connection must have started messing up, and I probably said Homelander, and then Ray said, and you're like,
I'm talking to
oh,
the guy that said Cobra Kai season 2 would have a satisfying conclusion and was incorrect about that.
you don't feel that things came back around and that characters
Oh
who
man,
you
your energy just changed. Like, yo.
you don't think so?
I didn't even watch season 2 yet.
Oh, okay.
I had to
Very
mess with
funny.
you.
Very funny.
Yo, your energy straight changed. Like, oh, you got real serious. Like there was no like any jovial anything in your voice just was gone. You don't think that? Like my bad, bro. My bad.
I got money tied up in Cobra Kai.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You're someone's agent.
Mm-hmm.
You're invested in its success.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I haven't watched season 2 yet. I will say something that will rattle your chain though. I
Oh,
probably shouldn't, but
okay.
it definitely is a good segue.
Okay.
It's interesting, and I haven't said it yet, but you've said it enough that
Mm-hmm.
now I'm gonna say it because I've been wanting to, but I'm like, I'm not gonna. Mike's, he's on the carousel, and he's hopping from the horse to the elephant to the, whatever other carousel animal there is, just enjoying the ride. And
Uh-oh.
I'm like, who am I to ruin that ride? But I will
Uh-oh.
say this: Mary J. Blige is
Mm-hmm.
not like the way you describe Mary J. Blige in Power. You would think we're talking about Angela Bassett.
I like that comparison. I like that.
Oh, stop. Stop.
I don't know. She's just very real to me. I don't know. I'm just really enjoying that character. I'm just really, I don't know. She just speaks to me somehow. Whatever it is. I don't know if it's rational. Maybe it's not rational. Maybe it's what you were talking about before. Maybe I'm being sold something and it's not to my rational self. Maybe it's something else. But I believe Mary J's character. I like her interaction. I like that they chose that Bobby Brown dude, the guy who played Bobby Brown, to be the son. I thought that dude is cool. That dude definitely did his thing as Bobby Brown.
He did his thing as Bobby Brown twice, right? Because he did it in the New Edition film,
Right, and then on his
and
own.
then he did it in
Right.
the Bobby Brown film.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I agree. I have no, I don't, I like his role.
Yo, the dude, there's a dude that was down with Pac that ended up like helping write with Bobby Brown, like some of the raps and stuff. Oh, who is that dude? It's not. Oh, who is that dude? It's not Eric B. I'll have to find out. I see him on YouTube all the time. He met Bobby Brown and like kicked some rhymes for him, and like they smoked weed together. And he's on DJ Vlad all the time. But yeah, I mess with Mary J though. I mess with Mary J.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have anything against her. I definitely like her in Umbrella Academy.
Yeah.
I thought that was a better role. Not that the role in Power is a bad role. It's just, what the thing about that role in Power is? It's just a cliched role.
Okay.
And not only is it a cliched role, she's not bringing anything new to it.
Yeah.
So
I like her.
Again, because of the nature of the show, right? Like, there's no one's bringing anything new to any of these performances. They're all cliched roles.
What her role is cliche because she's the drug dealer's wife holding it down?
Right, who has to hold down the fort, so to speak. I mean, there's some nuance for sure, but it's not.
Doesn't she have more? Isn't she exercising more power than those roles usually? No pun intended. Than those roles usually have. Like she really
it depends.
is.
I've seen Queen of the South.
Ugh. Yuck. Yuck. Talk
I
about
didn't say it was
cliche.
great. I
Yeah,
didn't say it
no,
was
no.
great. I'm
I
just
didn't
saying
say
I've
you.
seen. You know what I mean?
I didn't say you did. I'm just putting my opinion out there.
I mean, when you say exercising more power, well, I've seen Queen of the South.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But that's only one. But if we're gonna call it a cliche, it's got to be more than Queen of the South, though, right? It's got to be a repetitive. It's got to be something we see a lot.
I mean, I've seen Hitman's Bodyguard.
Okay. I didn't see that one.
Oh yeah, his wife, the hitman's wife, was a big time shot caller, but she was in prison.
Okay.
Like she was the shot caller.
Okay. But
And
yeah, I
they
feel
were
this
still
is a
very much in love with
nuanced.
each other.
I feel like this is a nuanced role, right? Because it's like she
I mean,
is
I've
handling.
seen what's that one TV show, Animal Kingdom?
Oh yes.
I mean, I've seen that.
Yeah, but Animal Kingdom's different though, because this is Animal Kingdom. That woman runs it all, and her sons are just trying to figure themselves out. This one is kind of like, her husband's really running it, but she's doing all the day-to-day since he's in jail. And I mean, I see the similarities. I see what you mean. But Animal Kingdom's a great show, and so is Power. So I think that's a good comparison. I think, the whack ones, I think those are the cliche ones. But yeah, I hear that.
So, I'm not hating on Mary's role.
Yeah.
At all.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad Mary's in it. I like Mary in it. I like her character in it. I think sometimes she underacts. Whenever she interacts with her daughter, it's not good.
Okay. You think
Let me see your phone. Let me see your phone.
Oh man. Oh no. Yeah, you got to come off of incognegro for that.
I'm just saying, whenever she's interacting with her daughter, I don't know if they have chemistry.
Okay, no, I hear what you're saying. And her daughter, now, is that Mary J's fault, or is the daughter kind of low key? Because let's be honest, and I'm just gonna be honest, because I love the show, and I got love for the way what's his name moves, but he is a little low key, right? Like he, the main character, what's his name?
Tariq.
Tariq.
Well, I mean, the daughter, I was gonna say, is the female Tariq to me.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, so imagine being Mary J. Like a large. I mean, you know this as an actor. A large part of acting is feeding off of your, the people that you're working with. So maybe for Mary, it's hard to do that when the daughter doesn't bring that much to the table.
Well, I think they both don't bring that much to the table when they're together. Like,
when they're together, right? But that's probably because one side isn't holding up their end, right? Because you like Mary J when she's interacting with other characters.
Yeah, I think it just has to do with chemistry.
Yeah. Well, if your chemicals are dead, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard for us to react.
Okay.
That's just me. That's just chemistry talk.
Okay. I don't know. I definitely, I want to see. So there's a few things that I'm disappointed about with Power, which is interesting with book 2, which is interesting because, like, I'm about to speak straight to like a more cliche and stereotype. Like, nobody's died yet. That matters.
I thought you were just I just was seeing that coming. And you said nobody.
Yeah, like
I was like, yeah.
I want that power. You know what I mean? Like somebody
Well,
got killed, but he was like,
all right. Prediction. It's coming soon. Just because you said that today's Saturday, it's coming soon.
Who are they killing off? It'll be on tonight. I'll be able to watch it tonight at.
Oh, because you got Max.
At midnight.
Because you got Max.
Because I have Stars.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, right.
So
Stars.
while it premieres Sunday night, if you have Stars on demand, we kind of
Mm-hmm.
get it at like midnight.
Yeah. Sometimes if I know the rights, streaming service to find it on, I can do that too. For a while, I was good. I was getting it early. Um, who's gonna die? Who's gonna die? Who's gonna die? Hmm.
There's a couple plot holes that I don't get.
Okay.
Like the girl who screwed him over in Power, that he goes and gets he takes her drugs from her.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Like one, I don't understand why it was just okay for him to take her drugs from her and she don't do anything about it. And two, why did they even reintroduce her for him to take her drugs from her if he didn't really need her?
Well, did he know that he didn't need her at that time? Because Mary J hadn't interjected just yet.
Yeah, but then why write her in
Oh,
if they
I
knew
see.
they were going to bring Mary J in? You know what I
Oh,
mean?
I see. I see. No, that's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. That was a weird little scene where he's like, "I'm stealing your drugs," and she's like, "Tee hee, don't steal my
Yeah, she like
drugs."
laughed about it. You know what I mean? Like, huh? Wait a
She's
minute,
like,
what?
"Oh, you're right. I got you last time, so you got me this time." Yeah, I owe you. Yeah, that's an interesting one. Maybe they're
I
gonna
know
use
who's
her.
gonna die. I know who's gonna die.
Is it gonna be a friend of Tariq's
Yeah,
or
the
an
daughter,
associate?
Mary J's daughter.
Oh, you think the daughter's gonna die?
Yep.
Oh shit.
I just thought about it when Mary was like, everyone who will be around him either end up in dead or in jail.
Oh shit. Well, if that happens, then Tariq is on the chopping block because Mary doesn't play.
Yeah, but
Mary daughter.
Neither do Tariq and his mama.
Well, I mean, Tariq is a smart kid, but you know he's off one or two people, but it's not like he's really about that life. You know what I mean? Like,
He's about what part of it? Huh?
well, okay. So what I'm saying is like him doing that was a major trauma to him, whereas Mary J, like that's that's not going to affect her if she has to
See, I
kill
gotta
somebody.
disagree because that trauma was something he learned to live with real quick, and then became the type of person that plotted other people's downfalls. I mean, he got Kane killed. He killed the guy that killed his sister. He killed his father.
Wait, Kane. Wait, Kane, as in 50?
Yeah.
Yeah. No. That's true. That's true. And he killed his father. No, all right.
This is after he killed Ray. He was on one,
Okay.
setting people up, blackmailing people, all of that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Extorting people.
I think the blackmail, the setting people up is one thing, but I think death is like. I mean, I know he killed his father, and I know what he did to Kane,
And
but
Ray.
oh yeah. Well, that was a traumatic experience, though. That
That
was
was the
something.
one that was traumatic for sure.
Yeah.
But then it was all downhill from there.
But even Kane, that one was rough. That one was like, okay, he's turning into a little sociopath. But you know, Kane was
My man
threatening his
tried to
family.
extort the mob. Like
Yeah,
this,
he was
like,
like he was in over his head on that shit though. Like,
yeah, but he don't care. You understand what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like he's willing to play chess with these people.
yeah,
He don't know, he doesn't realize that he's out of his league, and thus he's operating like someone who has nothing to lose.
yeah. No, I'm just saying, as smart as he is, like, are you really gonna go against someone who's as organized as Mary J?
No,
Like
he
they
gonna
got an
manipulate
operation.
somebody else to do it.
They got an operation going, and she has Bobby Brown as her son. That guy's
Dude,
a sociopath, but he's smart.
he gonna manipulate someone else to do it. He was extorting Dre.
Yeah, well, yeah, he was. Yeah, he was. He was. Dre was crazy. That was he could have got
Yeah,
killed doing that.
yeah.
Dre was crazy. Dre was a
Like
crazy dude.
the way they set up Tariq in this series, Tariq is the type of person who will. He's a chess player. He will manipulate
He is.
circumstances so that somebody else will be at war with Mary J.
Yeah. No, that's true. They're setting him up as the next Ghost, so that's true.
He got a district attorney in his pocket. You understand what I'm saying? Like, yeah. There's a lot going on here. You know what I mean?
Wait, who
it's
the white dude?
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yep. It's
Yeah,
a
there's a
lot
lot
going on here. That's all I'm saying. I don't think he plans to go to war with them.
Right.
But I think that if he finds himself in that situation,
he's gonna do what he's gonna do.
Yeah, he's gonna figure it out.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah,
if
that's
that
true. He's a
means,
smart kid. And they're
he
showing how
gotta,
smart he is in school too. That's
yeah,
very interesting. I like when they break down the school stuff. I like that.
yeah, yeah.
I've been getting into this Plato book a little something.
I like his
This little
teacher.
Plato, Aristotle. Oh yeah, the teacher. You think he
Yeah,
works out?
she is bad.
Yeah, she's got some issues.
Yes, she does.
She's got some issues.
Yes, she does.
You think something's gonna happen between her and Tariq?
Yep.
Yeah, he's gonna have one over on her too. He's gonna blackmail her too.
I definitely think she's taken by him.
That basketball player thought he was putting the moves on her.
And all she could talk about was Tariq.
Mm.
See what I'm saying? I'm going to have a candlelight vigil for him. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. It seems like they're planting the seeds.
He's gonna plant the seeds.
Well, remains to be seen. And not to mention, man, I understand how dope Mary is, but I would imagine if Mary is who she says she is in that series, then she knows about the St. Patrick's.
Right.
You know,
Well,
she
wait a
knows
minute. Wait a minute. So what do you mean?
that, and if she doesn't know exactly that, she hasn't put two and two together, who his father was.
Right.
Like you can't have operated on the level that Ghost operated. Like this is a guy who operated internationally. He was on the Fed's watch list.
Sure.
He was a public figure as well.
Right.
She has to know on a street level. Like people like that names ring bells, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
She got to know. And if she don't know, when she does find out, it's gonna matter. Like, wait a minute, this woman who I just got a morning after pill for is Tasha St. James.
But dude, if they know, like,
they're trying to hit her with queen pin status, of course that's gonna get back to Mary.
But yo, what's crazy to me is the way that they're threatening Tasha now with Tariq's life. Like, was that necessary?
I mean, I think when they find out who she is, that'll change.
Okay, so you think they don't? You think the only reason they did that is because they don't know?
Yeah, I'm just waiting for that scene when the two bad actors sit down across from a window and her, when Mary and Tasha sit down at the prison, because that's gonna happen. You have to know that's happening.
The two good actors, the two good actresses.
You have to know that that's gonna happen. That they're gonna sit down. They're gonna have a sit down.
Yeah, I can see the two good actresses sitting down.
The two good actresses. Maybe they'll sing together too.
Oh no. Oh, Tasha sings, right?
Yeah, she was part of like SWV or one of those singing groups.
Oh no,
3LW.
she wasn't. Oh, maybe 3LW. No, yeah, she definitely wasn't a part of SWV.
Yeah, but she was just a member of one of those groups.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yep. Yeah, Tasha can sing.
Okay.
Well, I guess she can harmonize because none of those girls could really sing.
SWV could sing.
Mm, come on, Mike. You're a singer.
Don't mess with my childhood.
You're a singer. I mean, it's my childhood too, right? I get so weak in the knees, hardly speak. I lose all control. Something takes hold. On my mind, and I can't explain how your love it makes me weak. But they weren't really, the dude. At the same time, there was another group out that could really sing. So every time they came on, I recognized that SWV couldn't really sing.
Who? Jade.
No,
Don't walk away.
no. In Vogue.
Oh, In Vogue was dope. In Vogue was dope.
When
You
so
got no arguments for me.
it's like when you hear In Vogue and then on the same playlist you hear SWV. Like, Mike, what are we doing here? Do I need to say any more?
SWV was dope though. I mean, I'm not gonna hear of it. SWV was dope. No, SWV was dope. There were groups that we listened to back then that were not great.
Yeah, In Vogue was great.
There were groups that we listened to that were not great. Some of them were one-hit wonders, but like that group that had the smoking a blunt and sipping on a Heineken.
Back in the day, we used to chill back when. But that
Yeah,
wasn't
like
great
that.
music.
Yeah, that wasn't a great song.
It was a good harmony.
It was, the song was kind of good because of just what it evoked, but it wasn't good singing. There was a lot of shit we listened to that wasn't really kind of great. We just kind of.
I mean, we liked H-Town.
All right, I'm done. Yo, dude, watch H-Town Unsung. Just watch it. H-Town.
I know they can sing, dude.
All right, because somebody said
their
this recently.
choices didn't actually do justice to their vocals.
We can agree to disagree.
Somebody rocking, knocking the boots.
Yeah.
They were no Silk.
I wouldn't want to be Silk. I'd want to be H-Town.
Silk could sing.
What was Silk's big song?
They had a lot. Their second album to me was the Silk album was like great, but their big song was "Freak Me, Baby." Let me lick you up and down.
Oh no, that was dope. Yeah.
You say stop. Yeah, they could sing, dude.
No, but that was in the same vein as like H-Town with the high, hitting the high notes and all that.
Yeah, but knocking the boots they weren't hitting high notes.
No, they had a high note in knocking the boots.
Yeah, but the melody of knocking the boots was lows.
Yeah,
slow,
but there's that one
body rocking, knocking boots all night long.
They don't sing.
Making love until we drop into the break of dawn.
They don't sing that low. There's
somebody rocking, knocking the boots.
There's a super high note in there. There's two of them. One of them's real high, and one of them's out of the stratosphere. Yeah, one of them's just out of here.
Yep.
Now go back and listen to H-Town, man. You're gonna.
H-Town was dope. They could sing. They could sing.
All right. What else did Silk have besides freaking?
Oh, see, because I'm a fan of their second album, so it's like I could go down a list of every song in their second album, but I don't know how commercial they were because I was in Germany when it dropped.
Oh, okay.
So it wasn't like I was seeing. Yeah, their second album, the Silk album.
Did they have a single? Did they have a single in Germany? Did they have a single that dropped?
It wouldn't have dropped in Germany.
Okay.
But their second album was a masterpiece. Mm-hmm. It really Mike, like every song on the album is
dope. Just your favorite one off of the second album.
Not Don't Go to Bed Mad, which is because there's so many good ones. Can't you see you're always lonely? Could it be I'm what you wanted? One love Is it possible that you don't know it? Trying to
You
find
know what
the
I'm gonna do?
lines to show
I'm
it.
gonna write to. I'm
Come
gonna write to.
on.
I'm gonna write to.
I just had to let you know just how I feel. Baby, remember
What's his
me.
name? Um, I'm gonna write to Swiss Beats. Do a versus H Town and Silk. That's gonna be the bomb.
Silk would win though because Silk had more albums.
No, how many albums?
Silk had like 5 albums. H Town
Nope.
had like 2.
Nope. See, people don't know. H Town had like 6 albums, dude. 6, 7 albums.
Well, there's a reason why people don't know.
Nah, when you listen to him, you're like, oh shit,
So
I forgot this
talented
was the.
people. The reason why Silk and H Town didn't get the props that they deserve is because they were talented.
Okay.
That's going to continue to be my theme. They were talented singers in R&B. R. Kelly was responsible for H Town, right? Like you're not going to out sing R. Kelly and stick around.
Wait. What do you mean? R. Kelly was responsible for H Town?
Like he was the guy behind them. Like he was associated with them. He was the guy who
I
kind of
didn't.
brought them out.
H Town? I never heard
Yeah,
nothing
H Town.
about that.
Yep. You're not
H
going to
Town
out
was
sing
from
R.
H Town was from Houston.
Yeah, I know where H Town was from. What does that got to do with with being discovered and promoted?
Nah, H Town was
Hold on, I want to make
Luke's.
sure.
H Town was Luke's
Yeah,
group.
yeah, Luke. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
sorry. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
and Luke ripped them off too. Luke
Yeah.
did them dirty.
Again, my general theme is gonna continue to be, especially a man in R&B during that time period. You can't really like have real talent and stay in the business, which is weird.
Hmm.
Because I can name another group as yet supremely talented.
Guy.
Well, Guy was not as talented, which is why they stuck around.
Hmm.
Guy had some talent on the production side and on the songwriting side. Their vocals were
Yeah,
were
you're right. You're
you
right.
know, but like
You're right about that.
as yet was something special.
Tell me what was
Right up there with
as
your H
yet's
Towns and
what was
Silk.
what was as yet's big joint?
Uh Everybody needs a little time away. I heard them say from each other. Even lovers need a holiday far away from your body.
Hmm.
Hold me now. They covered that. It's hard for me to say I'm sorry. I just want. Alexa, play I'm Sorry by As Yet.
Find I'm Sorry by Oz Yet, but here is other music by Oz Yet.
Oh, this was dope too.
That's not
Alexa, play. What's the name of that song? Sorry.
Alexa, how many dope albums
Play
does
Sorry
H
by
Town have?
As Yet.
Alexa, how many dope
Find
albums
Sorry by
does
Oz Yet, but
H
here
Town
is
have?
other music by Oz Yet.
Alexa, play I Will Make It Up to You by As Yet.
I couldn't find I Will Make It Up to You by As Yet Unknown, but here is other music by
Alexa,
As Yet Unknown.
play Holiday by As Yet. What's the name? Why don't they come on?
Because I think you know the answer to that.
Find Holiday by As
Couldn't
Yet
find that,
Unknown.
but here's some dope
Other
music from
by
H
As
Town.
Yet Unknown.
Oh, you about to get us? You about to get us kicked off?
Alexa, Alexa,
You about to get
Alexa,
us? You about to
stop.
get us kicked off?
Alexa,
That was beatboxing by
play
Issue
Hard
X.
to Say I'm Sorry by As Yet.
No, you can't play music in here.
Hard to Say I'm Sorry. Get Away by Chicago.
Alexa, stop. Pause it, Mike. Hold on.
Right.
Pause it again. Pause it again.
Damn.
Belinda, you know you have this food on the stove? Oh, now I'm involved in this cooking process? Next time include me from the beginning. Hello?
Yeah.
Are we recording?
Yes.
Oh.
We are. Yes,
So,
we are.
yeah, who should we bring in?
What do you mean?
Who should we bring in?
Who, as in our peoples?
Yeah.
Katie.
Who?
Katie.
All right, see if Katie wants to jump in.
All right.
See if Katie wants to jump in. That'll be cool.
Yeah.
So, okay, so where were we at with Power while we were reviewing and discussing Power?
You were saying Mary J. B is dope.
How do we get on the singers?
I don't know. You know you like to sing. You always find some excuse to sing.
I think we were just talking about bad male R&B singers from the 90s, and we got on a tangent of the good ones, right? Like H-Town, Silk.
Yeah, I don't know how we got into
Oh, because we
R&B
started
singers.
talking about bad female singing groups, and then Vogue came up, and
Yeah, so SWV was spoken about. I don't know why.
because they're not great, but they have great songs.
Yeah, but why would they have been brought up in the first place? That's what I'm trying to
Because
say.
I thought Tasha was a member of SWV.
Oh, there you go. And then I said
And
SWV is great, and then you apologized. And then we moved
no,
on
I
to
agree that
male
SWV
singers.
was great. They're just not great vocalists, right? Like we're not
All right.
going there, are we?
Yeah, I don't.
There's a
Yeah, I
difference
guess I
between
never.
3-part harmony and actual great vocals. Like how many hits do New Edition have? And like, are we saying they're great vocalists?
Okay. Okay. Yeah, it's something about their vocals though is sweet. Like, so when you say great vocalists, they're not doing some Aretha Franklin powerhouse shit, but they have a quality to their voices. They're not gonna like go on the stars and like blow you away on some
None of them
cliche
is
type
winning
shit.
American Idol.
Yeah, and that's great because I hate people who win American Idol. They do
Oh,
too
do
many
you?
riffs and they try to like show off too much. These
You
guys,
hate people that win American
yes,
Idol.
yes. Like I want the Johnny
Oh, that's a
Gills.
sound bite.
I
We need
want
to
the
have a
Johnny.
catalog of sound bites.
I want the Johnny Gills and the Ralph Tresvants
And you
and the
said too
Bobby
many riffs.
Browns and the
You said too many
people.
riffs and then went right to Johnny Gill.
Well, because he can do that. Most people can't.
Johnny Gill
actually
is the
can.
reason why the world realized that New Edition. Johnny Gill put the nail in the coffin of New Edition as a group.
Because he is so good.
Because on Any Heartbreak, it was 2 different songs. Like we had this conversation, right? Like you got these kids riding around on scooters, and then all of a sudden you get a spotlight and smoke machines and everybody. It was just, it was like, wait a minute, he just took you this is a different song.
They let an adult into the group. Never let an adult into a boy band.
Yeah, the nail in the coffin, right?
Yeah.
It's like putting Richard Marx in the New Kids on the Block.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't the best.
Like, wait a minute.
It wasn't the best idea, but you know.
Like, who did this? Who sat there and was like, this is the perfect fit for your group. A guy who sings better than every single one of you, up and down. And like, wait a minute. All these little girls like you, and this guy is going to get all the women with his voice.
Yeah.
Like, we're creating a dichotomy here, and we're competing against ourselves. He should not have been in that group. Period. Like the first time I saw Any Heartbreak, I'm like, what's happening to my life? This is not even. Yes, the blend. Any Heartbreak is a great song. I love it. Love the song. You know what I mean? Love it. People say we can't give loving, but we're far away from. She left her backstage pass in the room with the key, then got caught by hotel security, and I spent the whole night lonely and it was an N.E. Yo, that dope song. But you can't go from she left her backstage pass in the room with the key to everybody. Like, you can't, like, how do you do this? You know what I mean? Like, my man is in church and they're with groupies in the hotel on the same song.
Well, they had the run. This was more for gearing towards the solo acts, I think.
Yeah, because he came and put the nail in their coffin as a group.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean? This guy's just gonna be in the group. He's not gonna be the lead singer, and they're not doing backups. This is David Ruffin. That's all I'm saying, man.
Gotcha.
Like, they needed to be doing backups and harmonizing while he stood in the spotlight and was everybody, everywhere, my. You know you can sing when you just say my, right?
That's the real shit, man.
Like,
you sure look good tonight.
Like, all you gotta do is be like my, and, you know what I'm saying? And you got a dope song, and, like, you know, Ralph and they gotta come up with some, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm telling you, that's like the real singing. That's like the real shit.
We're talking about vocalists. Yeah. My versus Candy Girl.
Yeah, but they sound so sweet singing that though. That the quality of that Candy Girl is so sweet.
I think the only one song like that I love the quality with that tender voice was Lost in Love.
Not Cool It Now?
Nah. Cool It Now. I like the song, but Lost in Love was the culmination, was like the greatest example of them performing that way.
How about Can You Stay in the Rain?
Again, Lost in Love was Can You Stay in the Rain is a great song. Lost in Love is a very, for as simple as it was, is a very profound and strong piece of music. Like that. I'm lost in love, can't live without you. Said I'm lost. You know Lost in Love, right?
Yeah.
Would you love me when nights are cold? Would you love me when I grow old? Would you care? And baby, don't even show me in your... Yo, listen, bro.
Yo, that sounds so good. We might get a copyright strike. That sounds so good.
Sounds horrible. Stop, bro. I don't need to be insulted by my own co-host. Or I'm gonna have to bring up A+.
Oh no.
Definitely gonna have to, bring up A+ or New York City Rats, or
Hey man, you blew up that rat story. That rat story That rat story was a good story, and you kept bringing it back to every person you knew. You're like, hey, yeah. Have you heard that rat story? Have you heard that rat story?
I had to, because you did. You stole moments of my life, so that's me on a quest to get them back.
Yeah,
like I lost
I got
2 weeks of my life on that story.
I got a hint for you. You're never gonna get those. You're never gonna get those weeks back.
I got them back.
All you can do is live your life.
I got them back.
Did you though?
Metaphorically, for sure.
That was good.
For sure.
That inspired you to write some good shit. You were like, wow, that's the kind of fear and emotion good writing can evoke. You were like, damn, I'm going to be a writer now.
He was like, man, I got to try to make it to sleep tonight. Like, what are we doing here? What's happening? Like a girl on Poltergeist, what's happening? Like, what's really going on?
Hey, the power of words and the power of claiming things. I knew what I was doing. I knew what I was doing.
To the Lake, season 1, coming Wednesday on Netflix. This looks like some crazy, scary television series. To the Lake. They got a lot of stuff coming out on Netflix. So no, we didn't get anything from Katie.
I mean, not yet.
What's up with?
You know, Katie. I mean, you think he's going to respond in like 2 minutes from when he's summoned?
How about Raul?
Raul? Let's see. Let me see if I try to summon Raul. When's the last time Joey joined us?
A long time ago. I was thinking about that earlier. So what did you think about that outcome between Superman versus Dr. Manhattan?
You know what? It was a TLDR. I didn't even read the whole
I
thing.
said as much.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, I feel like where the hell did this other part of my yeah, you know, I just don't know why Dr. Manhattan was all hurt about like Superman being this and being that. Like, what does he think? There's only room enough for one supreme being or hero? Like,
well, Superman isn't a supreme being, right?
I mean, what do those words mean? I mean, the guy's super and he can fly and he can
in the
hurt people?
context of superheroism, he's not a supreme being, right?
Okay.
Like Dr. Manhattan would be the closest thing to that, right?
At the end of the day, Manhattan was hurt that Superman could like defeat him or some shit, right? He
was morally convicted because Manhattan didn't save his own world. You know, he kind of took the self-righteous perspective of, you know, let things happen as they should. You know, if you ever recall, say you never read the Watchmen series and you just watched the original movie, you know, then you kind of see that Ozymandias became a villain for the purposes of his whole point was trying to save the world.
Okay.
And he realized that, you know, as a hero, we're not going to do it. So he had to create and manufacture major cataclysmic events to bring people together. This was Ozzy's perspective, right? Like,
this is what my character is doing a little bit. My character, Black Matter.
Okay.
He's kind of doing that. Yeah.
I like the concept. And so what happens is, ultimately, we know in the Watchmen universe that things ultimately didn't go well. And what Manhattan did was disassociate himself, right? He went to Mars.
Right.
And just kind of disassociated himself from the goings on Earth in his reality. Okay. So in the Doomsday Clock series, Ozzy manufactures or contrives a situation by which, you know, using his brilliance and his ability to, you know, he kind of opens up reality to the idea that there are other realities, thus Superman's multiverse, his reality.
Okay.
And he contrives a situation by which Dr. Manhattan comes into the awareness of Superman, knowing what impact it would have on Dr. Manhattan.
Okay.
So Dr. Manhattan, once he realizes that Superman exists, he's just curious about it. And his curiosity grows when he sees what Superman means to his world, and not just his world, but to Superman's reality and all of the DC realities, because DC has several different realities in DC Comics.
Okay.
There's like 3 Superman. There's several different. They call it the multiverse, because there's just several different realities with, you know, a parallel Earth and parallel Superman. Some are black. You understand what I'm saying? And you know,
Black Superman.
There's 2 Black Superman.
Okay.
So as he's watching Superman's life and Superman's impact on this reality, you know, he begins to experiment because he's inquisitive and he wants to see how subtle changes to Superman's life would impact Superman's reality. Like, this guy can't be this morally good. I've never encountered anything like this. You understand what I'm saying? So he assumes the role of the villain, not that he thinks he's a villain,
Yeah.
but he does things like he shows up at, like, first he causes the accident that has Pa Kent killed, thinking that this will affect Superman's life in such a way that he won't grow up to be Superman.
Right.
Superman still grows up to be Superman and be as good as he has always been.
Mhm.
So then he's like, okay, let me see if I can change the world that Superman lives in. So major events that would have taken place, like, you know, with the train crash that causes the original Green Lantern to reach out and grab the lantern and become the Green Lantern, he moves the lantern out of the way. So he
Okay.
never becomes Green Lantern.
Okay.
The accident that causes the Flash to become Flash, he stops it. So Flash never becomes Flash.
Okay.
Like, he starts going throughout time, doing all these things to see how it would impact Superman. And every time, Superman still becomes Superman. He still and still has the same moral platform that he has had in every instance. So
When he does all of these things, does he course correct them after he realizes they don't affect Superman?
yeah, he goes back and he when all was said and done, it leads to this point where he's on Mars, and, you know, he's not confined by time, and he can see into the future, he can see into the past, and something that he does, he realizes enrages Superman, and that in a week Superman and him are going to fight,
Okay.
but he can't see anything past the fight.
Mm.
For the first time ever, he can't see past it. All he sees is darkness.
Right.
So he doesn't know if this means Superman defeats him, or that in this battle he has to go to the extreme and ends up destroying everything.
Sure.
Everything that exists. So he then just jumps forward into time, right? Because he can just, you know, pick different time streams, and he just jumps forward to all these different places in different in the future. As far as 3030, he jumps forward and he sees that no matter what point in time he jumps to, there is a birth of Superman. That if for some reason he was to stop it now, if he were to be successful in 3019, you know, a Patricia Kent and a Kevin Kent, you know, adopt an alien boy who becomes, you know what I'm saying, in 3040. So, you know, every time where he sees himself stopping it, Superman still somehow, some way comes into existence. And he then begins to realize that this reality isn't a part of multiple realities, that it is the focal point for all of the multiple realities that stem from it. And that the constant thing holding it together is Superman, because Superman is this reality's representation of hope.
Okay. Now let's talk about the black Supermen. What is up with them? Are they just everything else is like Superman, but they just happen to be black, and then they're also raised by a black family, or
yeah, just different scenarios. One is like the president of the United States in his reality, but he also happens to be Superman.
Okay. Was this written after Obama?
I believe during, perhaps. Might have been written during.
Okay.
The other is a young guy, very young. Of the two, black Superman. And they're not mainstream Superman characters, and that's not to knock them. It's just because they weren't very popular.
Right. Okay. But
not that they weren't popular.
Other than that, they fight crime and wear the suit.
Yeah. They were a version of the suit.
Okay. And what's the hair like? Is it like a Caesar, or is it like a S curl?
Well, the young one has like a fade.
Okay.
The other one has like a Barack Obama-esque haircut.
Okay. Katie is in the building.
Who?
Okay. Katie in the building.
So did Katie come into the building to be Ghost? We brought Katie on to converse with us.
Well, you're Ghost, aren't you?
Yeah, but I'm not full Ghost. Well, I'm invisible. I'm not inaudible.
It takes a while to come into the building. His
What's
audio is
good?
connected. What's good, KD?
Mm.
Chilling.
What up, man?
What's good with you, Ish?
What's good, man?
We were just talking Black Superman. Just talking Black
You just
Superman.
watched Superman?
No, we were just talking Black Superman.
Oh, about Superman.
Yeah, Black Superman. So both of their parents are Black as well.
Yes.
And are they still in Kansas or whatever?
I don't know.
Okay.
Because they don't give a backstory, because it's not like there's 100 issues of the, you know what I mean? So they don't really go that deep into their backstory. They just present a world in Elseworlds tale where the one in particular who has been the most prominent, he's president.
Okay. And do they get into any racism or anything like that? Or?
No.
Okay.
No, but it's hard to do that, because when you look at like Superman and Wonder Woman, these were characters that were written by people who would have been anti-racism, who and weren't written in with any of those negative societal tropes in mind. Superman and Wonder Woman in particular. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right.
So those tropes weren't written. That's the one thing about comic books, especially mainstream Marvel and DC. Most of the people attached to the creations of the most iconic characters were very liberal people.
Yeah, but do their characters have to run into any conflicts, is what I'm saying. And they racial conflicts.
Not Black Superman. It's just not fleshed out enough. Like there's not like a lot of, there's like maybe 5 comics with him in it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like it was an Elseworlds tale, so it's not like we're gonna write a whole series, because it doesn't take place in our mainstream DC universe. We have a Superman.
Right.
So it's like, I just want to tell this story, and it'll be 5 issues. You understand what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
And it won't be in the mainstream continuity.
I just find that interesting because, just depending on the story you want to tell, you can tell a 1-page story and a character can run into some bullshit,
Yeah, but that's not always what, that might not be that writer's passion to do that.
Sure.
Especially if you're talking about a white person tackling a Black character, and sometimes even a Black person tackling a Black character. Like, I don't always want to be boxed in that way, where because I'm writing a Black character, I have to tell that story.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I mean, maybe it's not a story. Maybe it's just you're passing by some dude and he says, "Black bastard."
Yeah, but, it doesn't really serve any purpose.
You're really pushing that angle, Mike.
I'm going to deal with you later, sir. That was some fucked up shit you said, but we have.
Marvel has a Superman character that directly dealt with that stuff.
Oh, okay. So there you go. A Superman character or a Black Superman character?
A Superman character who's Black.
Oh, okay.
I don't differentiate, because I'm kind of liberal. So for me, it's like,
what character?
Yeah, so it's kind of like the Green Lanterns. How it's a lot of
Blue Marvel.
Oh, Blue Marvel, right.
Blue Marvel is Marvel's equivalent to Superman. Okay. And he was created by a Black man, Michael Grievous, the guy who co-wrote and starred in the Underworld movie franchise.
Okay.
He was created by Michael Grievous, and he's always been around Marvel, but he had to hide his existence because his origin dictates that the world wasn't ready for a Black superhero at the time.
Okay.
So he kind of hid his existence. Now he's like a prominent character.
When did he hide? Like, do you know what the
throughout the 60s till present day.
Oh, okay. Damn, even presently they're not ready for.
No, he's come out like in the early 2000s in real world continuity. He's like a major character in Marvel.
Oh, okay.
But up until that point when he came out, because they created him in the 2000s, but they created him and they gave him a backstory that he had always been around.
Okay, and he came out before Obama.
Yeah. And the idea was that he had always been around, but that he had to keep his identity and even his activity secret because the world when he came out was not ready for a Black, it was a racist. The reasons were racist and based in prejudice.
Sure. I would definitely have a scene in there where he does a fist bump with Obama. I'm just saying.
Obama's not well regarded inside of comic books. Like the only 2 times he's appeared, he's gotten beat up.
Oh, damn.
Spider-Man beat him up,
Okay.
and Hate Monger beat him up.
Damn.
Obviously, Hate Monger is a racist character, so Hate Monger.
Yeah, I wasn't sure about that one. I figured he could.
No,
just
Hate
be-
Monger didn't beat him up. But Barack Obama's never been beaten up in a comic book. And he's been on the cover of Spider-Man.
Okay. That was funny.
He's been on the cover of Spider-Man. And he's never been beaten up in a comic book. But there is a character named Hate Monger.
Okay.
Yes. My question, since you are the comic aficionado, why can't we get a Beyonder movie?
You mean, what do you mean, a Beyond, like his own movie?
Yeah, his own movie.
Because it wouldn't be fun.
I mean, he'll end everything, but
You mean his own movie, as in he's the main character of the movie, the star?
well, no, not the main character, but I mean his existence. I haven't heard about him since I read it in the comics.
Oh, well, they've been tossing around the idea to do Secret Wars, which is what
Okay.
is the whole story of them dealing with the Beyonder.
I thought you were about to say, why can't we get a Beyonce character?
Oh no.
Yeah, I kind of did too. Yeah, the Beyonder's hard though, which is why that's a movie that you have to build up to even harder than, say, Thanos, right? Because Beyonder's like God. You know what I mean? So
Right,
it's
yeah.
really how, like, you got to really build up to that, and then, you know, Secret Wars, which is how they dealt with Beyonder, right? It took 24 issues, Secret Wars 1 and Secret Wars 2, to just deal with this guy, right? Like, to even begin to, like, he could do whatever he wanted, period. Like,
Right.
literally, he's omnipotent.
Yeah.
So it was, you know what I mean? Their plans for that, but that would be like a major. They'd have to put out like 10 movies building up to, like, however many it took them to build up to, you know, weak Thanos. Beyonder is by no means on the same. Thanos is nowhere near the level of Beyonder, even with the full Infinity Gauntlet. Like, it's not even, you know what I mean? It's
Right,
not
right,
even in the ballpark. You know what I mean? Beyonder is a universal level, not even a universal, an existential level threat.
Right, right.
Like, he's, you know what I mean? He's second to only, like, in Marvel, I would put him just under God. The deity that we know or believe or understand to be God. You know what I mean? Or Allah. Like, that's who I have, according to Marvel, that's the only person who would be over him.
Right, right. Yeah,
You know,
so
so
yeah,
it's,
a solo
you know,
movie wouldn't work.
yeah, you can't. It's kind of like the reason why it's hard to tell, like Justice League, which is a great comic, is hard to write because they have Superman. Then they have Wonder Woman. And it's like, well, every time we write these stories, the threat has to be like world level, or it's
Right.
Wonder
For
Woman and
them to
Superman are just
deal
gonna
with.
wipe the
Right,
floor with anyone else. You know what I'm saying?
right,
Like, so
right,
it's
right.
hard. You know, these are characters that could literally just wipe the floor with people. The average Batman villain would, you know, never stand a chance for less than a second, not even a second, with a Superman or a Wonder Woman.
Right, right. That's facts.
You know, it's like, it's very difficult. You know, it's kind of
Unless he was
difficult to write the
rocking
Hulk.
some, whatchamacallit,
Somewhat.
the stuff that Superman doesn't like.
Kryptonite?
Kryptonite.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that doesn't affect Wonder Woman.
No, it's Superman.
Yeah, but I mean, Wonder Woman is essentially Superman.
Yeah, there's one down, one to go.
Oh, you mean he's got to take them both on at the same time?
And the
You would
difference
have
is
to.
Wonder Woman is a better fighter than Superman.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman's probably a better fighter than everybody, hand to hand.
Yeah, I
But
could
she's got
agree
like
with that.
500 years experience. You know what I mean?
Yeah, a plethora of fighting styles.
Yeah. Yeah. At a high level. So, I mean, you know, you know, yeah, I guess Kryptonite is Superman's weakness, but even then, you know, there's Wonder Woman and then Green Lantern. Like, that Justice League is just hard to write because, like, all of them are like, crazy powerful beings. Crazy powerful. So it's, you know, Martian Manhunter, like those 4. Then Shazam, like that's 5 Supermen right there. You know what I mean? Like all 5 of them are Superman.
Why does he keep saying Superman?
So it's, you know, it's hard.
Why does he keep saying Superman, Daddy?
We're discussing Superman.
Why does he keep saying Superman?
He walks up to me with his Superman shirt on and asks me, why does he keep saying Superman?
Wolverine. So what you got going on, Katie?
Say that again. I'm sorry.
Oh, you good? What you got going on?
Nothing. Just cleaning my kitchen right now.
Ah,
I just came back from the grocery store, so going
you been watching Power?
I didn't see the latest episode. I saw the first 3.
So Mike seems to think Mary J. Blige is Angela Bassett level actor. Excuse me.
Hell no.
Hey,
Nah,
I just
can't
said
agree with
that
you on that,
she's.
Mike.
No. I mean, he mentioned Angela Bassett, and I said, good comparison. I just, you know.
Not a good comparison. But I'll tell you, I will say this though, Mike. It was good to see her in a more normalized element.
Right.
Huh? What?
So,
Wait, what?
So it was good to see her in a more normalized element, which made her have a different shine about her. But she's not an Angela Bassett.
All right, let's discuss normalized. Like, how are we defining normalized as it regards this particular role?
Well, her character, you know, she's not singing about heartbreak. She's basically a threat, like she's a goon.
Oh,
And that's normal?
I thought
With
you
control.
meant.
Well, no. I'm saying not in such a superstar persona.
Right.
Okay. I see what you mean.
I thought you meant more normalized, like not like a crazy Umbrella Academy kind of out there role.
No. Just not her superstar shine. We're not looking at that. We're looking at her actual acting, and it was dope to see.
Oh, I see.
But she's not an Angela Bassett at all.
I mean,
when I see Angela Bassett perform, I get the sense of my aunties, my mother, you know what I'm saying? I don't get that with Mary.
Well, maybe it's the role. Maybe it's the role. I feel like this role, she's killing it. You think Angela Bassett could play this drug dealing matriarch better than
Absolutely.
Jay?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Really? I don't know. I believe Mary is like there's something about Mary, like I believe it. I believe
there's something about Mary. Is this what we doing?
I don't know. I believe her in this role. Like Angela
Is it the
Bassett,
beans or is it the Frank?
Angela Bassett's dope. I don't know how I would see her in this role.
She would be raising the game of everyone around her.
Back in the kitchen.
She would have hit her. She wouldn't have had to say, "Let me see that phone" more than once. They'd have like, "Cut. That's a wrap. That's a wrap, Angela." They'd be like, "Yo, that's a wrap." The way she say, "Let me see that phone," it would be Academy Award winning line. The way she would say it, it would be like, "I will pull my phone out my pocket and be like, here, my bad." Like I'm just
telling
you.
That's what I'm saying. Like with Angela Bassett.
Like, my bad. Here.
So
like,
I don't want to say too much because KD hasn't seen the last episode. But do you think when they went to go see, you know who, those knuckleheads, that Angela Bassett would have looked at dude about to pull out, being like, "Do you want to do that?" You think she would have done that as well as Mary J?
Yeah. I think Angela would have flipped them glasses down and that look in Angela's eyes, because Angela acts with her eyes too.
She's a very physical actor.
Yeah, when she flipped them glasses down and that look, she probably wouldn't have had to say it. She probably just had to hit him with the look.
You know, when I think of Angela Bassett, I think of people like Felicia Rashad.
Okay.
Like
Okay. Okay. Now we're doing too much.
well, no, understand what I'm saying. The energy that Felicia Rashad gave off when she would discipline her kids, she was very calm when she did it, but you understood her intent. You know what I mean? You understood.
I understand what you're saying.
You know
So
what I'm
you
saying?
know how Angela Bassett would rule, Mike, to actually make it more, to associate it more with the actual medium we're talking about. You remember Power Season 1?
Sure.
So you remember the female crime boss, the Latinx woman.
Yeah.
Right.
You remember how she ruled?
Right.
Yeah, I think so.
That's what Angela Bassett would do, but to the next level.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I guess I'm just having trouble seeing it. But you know what though, Felicia Rashad.
Mary did do a great job because her situation, her storyline, she's married to someone that's incarcerated.
Yep.
And so maybe she did do a good job. She couldn't be that upper echelon to, because that situation probably wouldn't happen.
Right.
So I understand that.
Yo, but Felicia Rashad was dope in Empire. So Felicia Rashad can be a badass too.
Felicia Rashad, she's a badass, period.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No argument. No argument here, my brothers.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm saying is, my argument is when we bring Mary J. Blige into the same conversation with Angela Bassett.
Nah, that's not even the same conversation.
Well, I wasn't the one who brought it up.
I think Angela Bassett could probably do a better job doing a track with Mary than Mary could do doing the scene with her.
I'm going to leave that one alone.
Well, I mean, it's not like Mary is the greatest vocalist in the world.
I'm going to leave both of y'all alone.
If Mary sang So Much Pain and Angela Bassett just sat in the video, that increases Mary's sales. Because now women listen. I'm just saying. Angela would be in better shape. Like, what are we doing here? Why are we even having this conversation? Like, Mary is Mary and she's dope, but Angela is on another level dope.
I just can't wait till they make Angela Storm, and then,
she's too old to be Storm.
I know.
Well, yeah, they could do an old. Yeah, it would be by the time they do an old Storm.
She can't because she's already T'Challa's mother.
Oh yeah, she is. So yeah, she can't be Storm.
Maybe something happens,
and she all of a sudden becomes Storm.
No, like, wait, what do you mean she can't be Storm now that she's already T'Challa's mother?
She's already in the Marvel Universe.
Oh, I see.
As T'Challa's mother.
Oh, I see. Grace Jones then. Grace Jones, my number one pick.
Way too old to be Storm.
Older Storm-ish for like.
But there is no older Storm yet.
Not yet. In the future, like something. You know how we're doing all these 1984 movies? They do some crazy future movie.
Where they make Storm like 70?
They do a Storm in the future movie. They do.
I don't know why they would do that. That wouldn't make any sense to any damn Storm.
Something happens with the timeline and they end up in the future.
And nobody who likes Storm is gonna watch that. Because but I mean, you're gonna be in a minority because
I'm already in a minority.
Those who you're marketing it to aren't gonna like it. Would be like taking some character that you know and love just because I want to cast this person. We're just gonna create a story that makes no sense to the character.
It's gonna make plenty of sense. Something happens to the timeline, someone's screwing around with it, one of these characters that can manipulate time, and we end up in the future and Storm and them try to fix shit.
Yeah. Okay.
We're gonna need a few writers. We're gonna need a few writers to flesh it out a little bit, but it'll make sense.
I don't see it. I don't see any actor right now playing Storm.
Hey, Grace Jones could do it. If we're talking about older Storm. Y'all started talking about older Storm first. I just hopped in.
No, I just said that Angela Bassett was too old. There is no older Storm.
So you're
There is
saying
no older Storm.
you're saying Storm dies when she's young?
No, I'm saying that there is no current existing older Storm. And
Well, until
older
they go
Storm,
to the
older,
future.
older Storm, when they do show any instances of Storm in the future, does not look like Grace Jones.
Why not?
Because she doesn't.
How do you haven't seen her yet?
I have seen issues with you. I've seen comics where Storm was aged out because they were looking at future alternate timelines for sure.
Oh,
X-Men
okay.
Annual 12 is a perfect example of where Storm was aged out and never even became Storm, as a matter of fact.
Well, now we're dealing with artistic license.
Hello?
I think Grace Jones would make a dope Storm, but that's just me.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think she's.
I think we
I
agreed on
personally
this.
don't think so.
I think we agreed on this before. I think we agreed.
back
it wasn't for the
when
age.
Grace Jones was younger, for sure.
Yeah.
I think she would
Well,
have been
we
a
could
dope
do
Storm.
we could do the age thing that they did to what's his name?
Right now, I just don't think there's an actor in Hollywood that can play Storm.
Right. What was the age thing they did to your man? You know what I'm talking about. To
Arnold.
to the gangster? No, the age thing they did to the gangsters in that movie. What was the gangster movie?
The
Where they
Irishman.
turned them.
Robert De Niro.
Yeah, exactly. De Niro. Make a De Niro or
The same thing, Daddy.
make her look younger. No, you know what? There's an actress, but she's just not. We're just not thinking of who she is, or she's just not super mainstream. But there's definitely a dope actress that can play Storm. She's probably in the UK or like she's probably in Somalia or something right now. Probably a dope
Think so?
Somalian actress.
You think so?
Mhm.
Okay.
What's her name, Mike? What might her name be?
What, the actress?
Yeah.
Let me see. I'll look her up. Her name is Nafisa Muhammad.
No.
Piece
She
of
doesn't
Ahmed?
look like Storm at all.
Nafisa Muhammad.
She doesn't look like Storm.
Yeah, she ain't got the look.
You don't know that actress.
Huh?
You don't
I
know
know
that
her.
actress.
Nafisa Ahmed, I know who she is.
Kelsey, I'm dead. I just need you to know that. I'm
Is she
dead
one
right
of your
now,
people?
man.
Yeah, she's one of my people's. Maybe Waris Deary.
Ain't got the look.
No, you're right. Nafisa doesn't have one. Waris Deary.
Nah.
I don't know who that is.
You looked it up already?
No, I don't know who it is. I just, nah.
Damn, man. You didn't even look at it.
I'm not trusting your casting.
Oh, man.
I mean, you're a Halle Berry Storm fan, so you know.
Yeah, right.
I'm
Get the fuck
definitely
out of
not
here.
trusting your casting.
Dude, I'm the biggest advocate against Halle Berry you've ever seen.
As much as you sung the praises of Halle Berry as Storm.
Dude, I'm the biggest advocate against Halle Berry as Storm you've ever known in your life.
I don't know. I'm pretty big.
Nah, no one goes in like I do.
I don't know. Mike. I thought I heard you say, you know, maybe Halle Berry could reprise her role.
Never. Not in a million years.
I don't know.
Yeah,
That
I
one
do.
great. We gotta eat it.
I feel like you did.
No. It's not about
And if
feelings.
this breaks off, you have to eat it with
No,
a
no, it
fork.
is.
No.
It is. It is absolutely about
That
that.
breaks off of it, you have
You
to
didn't.
eat
You
it with
didn't.
a
You didn't say
fork.
Halle
About
Berry was
black
dope
and
at
white.
Storm.
Dude, you can't be talking to the right person.
Man, no.
Really?
Nothing gets my goat more than Halle Berry as Storm.
Get your goat
Yeah, nothing gets my goat.
more than Halle Berry as Storm.
Yeah.
What about the thought of Cuba Gooding Jr. as Bishop?
That just makes me laugh.
Okay, so it wouldn't bother you if he was Bishop. Though it wouldn't get your goat as bad as Halle Berry as Storm.
No, I mean they really messed up. They really messed up. I mean you
I mean,
heard
they
me
could
talking
recast. They could recast Black Panther as Cuba Gooding.
Yeah, I'm not into Cuba. I'm not into Cuba.
Cause I'm going to spill it in my room.
No, you put it
But
in.
you know, I had seen that movie already. By the way, the joint with him and Hannibal Lecter.
You saw it?
Yeah, I had seen it already. I mean, I didn't watch the whole thing again because I'd already seen it, but it was good. At least he wasn't overacting in that. So that was good.
Mm.
That's his problem, is he overacts.
I mean, you know, there was a lot of pressure on Black people in the era that he came up in.
Well, sorry to hear it. But
Wow,
doesn't
you're
make
not
it
even
better.
gonna.
That doesn't make it better to watch.
You're not even gonna give him the benefit of a doubt.
But you know how many other people came out in that era that did wonderful things?
No, I don't. How many?
Lots.
That's one of my favorite numbers. Lots.
Yeah. I mean, the early 90s, come on, man. We had all types of great performances from Black men in the early 90s.
Name one. Name one.
In the early 90s,
Juice.
we had 7 Black men that we always saw.
Wait a minute. Juice was a great performance.
Hell yeah, Juice was a great performance. Get the fuck out of here.
Stop it.
Get out of here.
I'm asking you to name a great performance, and you're gonna hit me with Juice.
Juice was a great. Juice is universally recognized as a great performance.
Man, stop.
Juice launched the career of a great actor.
Man, stop.
Okay.
I'm not hating on Juice. I asked for a great performance from the early 90s, and you give me Juice, not Deep Cover.
Wait a minute. First of all, I was going to list a bunch.
You could even say Glory, Mike.
First of all,
that's what I'm saying. Like, you give me Juice.
Oh wow. Okay. All right. I see what we're doing.
Like, I'm not hating on Juice, but like I'm when we talk about Black actors,
Menace to Society. Just because it's a hood movie doesn't mean it's not.
No, it was all dope.
Movie.
But like nobody in Juice or Menace could touch Lawrence Fishburne in Deep Cover.
All right, Lawrence Fishburne is a great. Lawrence Fishburne was also in Boys in the Hood, which also had some performances.
He was. But we're talking, and everything that you mentioned is really, like, I'm not hating on them. You're right. They definitely have to be held up in light and recognized for what they are.
Go back, because Juice is universally considered a groundbreaking performance, and I'm not even joking right now.
You got the juice now, man. One person's groundbreaking performance, and I'm not, Mike. I'm really not hating. What I'm saying is when I question the great performances of the '90s, I never in a million years expect Juice to be the first one that people like.
We're talking about maybe I'll admit we're not talking about the entire movie. Maybe I'm talking about a specific actor's performance. We'll just agree. We'll just agree on that. Okay, so Menace. You don't want to go there. Menace. Go back and watch Menace, because there's a lot of. I mean, you got.
There's a lot of ridiculously good performances in Menace.
Yeah,
the lead actor sucks.
All right, so I'm not gonna argue with you on that one. I mean, I'm not gonna say that he's great. I think he did what he had to do, but we're not gonna argue on that. what's his name?
He sucked in deep cover.
Lorenz
I know
Tate.
that much.
Lawrence Tate. Yeah, Lawrence Tate was great. But what's his Snakes on a Plane? What's his name?
Sam L.
Yeah, Sam L. does his thing on
Sam
that.
L.
Snakes on a Plane. Not
Sorry,
Glory.
my brain's not firing all cylinders today. I'm
Not
like,
Glory.
I'm doing
Not
a lot
Glory,
of.
right?
Snakes on the
Snakes on a
Plane. That
Plane.
was bad production costs, I think.
Well,
We're
yeah,
not
I mean
going-
that was a joke.
We're gonna go Snakes on a Plane over Glory.
No, hell no.
No, I was just trying to remember his name is all. Not say that movie should be.
How about Denzel and Malcolm X?
Oh, come on, that's my number one movie. That's
I
my
mean,
number one movie.
When we're dropping great performances from actors like
Yeah,
black
but
actors
we're gonna
from the
include,
90s.
We're gonna include that. We're not gonna disclude Juice because we include Malcolm X. So
And we're
not
gonna
doing that.
include them to we're lowering Juice on the list.
Well, let's keep talking about it.
Yeah.
Let's
We're lowering
keep
Juice. The three-eyed name pushed Juice down further.
All right, let's
You know
just
who
keep
was
talking
a
about it.
surprisingly good actor?
Who?
Jamie Foxx.
Oh, Jamie Foxx is dope. I'll give you that.
just said that an Academy Award-winning actor is a surprisingly good actor.
Yeah, but
I mean,
Jamie Foxx started as a comedian.
I didn't expect him to get Academy
No,
Awards.
I get you. No, I get you. I get you, Katie. I get you. No, we didn't
But it's
expect
like
that
saying,
from
who's a surprisingly good actor? Tom Hanks.
Yeah, but we didn't expect that from Jamie because Jamie started, on some
Same with
old
Tom
sketches.
Hanks.
Well,
Tom Hanks was surpriser too.
Tom Hanks literally was slapstick comedy.
Yeah,
that's true. That is true.
I mean, his first role was dressing up as a woman on a sitcom.
yeah.
You know
To
who's
rent
a
an apartment.
surprisingly good actor? Al Pacino.
Surprisingly, right? Because like when he did Godfather, I never saw what he would evolve into. Like I never saw him evolving into the actor he is today after stinking up that movie. And what a horrible movie too, right?
Godfather. I mean, it wasn't my
his
cup
buddy.
of tea, but I know people love it.
His buddy that did Taxi. He surprised me too.
His buddy that did
Who's that?
Taxi.
Yeah, did
Pacino?
the movie. Yeah, Pacino.
Yeah. I'm kind of surprised that he turned out to be as good as he turned out because most of his roles are horrible.
Wait, no, we just said Al Pacino, didn't we?
Not Pacino, De Niro.
Not De Niro.
Oh, De Niro.
Yeah, De Niro's done I don't really think he can act.
Oh no.
If I'm being honest with you, like most of his roles are horrible. Most of his movies are horrible.
Well, he's done a lot of horrible movies, but he's done some great movies too.
Nah,
Oh man, come on.
you must be thinking of Danny DeVito.
I thought Ronan was pretty good.
You're just gonna throw a random guy's name and be like, you must be thinking of this guy?
You got to be
No.
thinking of Danny DeVito.
No, I mean De Niro.
All Italians look
obviously-
alike, right?
De Niro obviously had some stinkers, but his great roles. I mean, the
Mike, really? You don't know when I'm being sarcastic still? Still, bro.
Well, I will say Pacino and De Niro have done so many films that some of them weren't great. Some of them weren't
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, that's true. That is absolutely true. There's a couple actors that I think people like that I'm like, why do you like this person?
Yeah.
They're not even really good. Like
No, Cuba's
Morgan
definitely
Freeman.
like that. Nah,
Morgan Freeman.
No, you're being sarcastic again.
What's that guy that
Denzel Washington.
no, he's a black guy though. He has like a lazy face, a lazy everything.
Oh,
Forrest.
Lazy Eye.
He has
Forrest.
lazy everything.
Forrest Whitaker.
Yeah, he sucks too.
No, Whitaker's dope. You got to see him in a jazz movie. Got to see him in Bird.
He sucks.
I don't know. I think he plays the same character in every movie.
No, what about
As does Morgan Freeman.
No, what about when he played the dictator from Ghana?
Idi Amin,
I mean, yeah, that was a crazy.
the last
that was
king
a
of
crazy role.
Scotland or something like that.
Yeah, Last King of Scotland.
That was a crazy role. He did his thing.
That was good.
That was good.
He did a good job with that.
He did.
But I still can't forgive him for the crying game.
I don't remember. I mean, I know that was a big deal in the '90s, but I don't remember too much.
He was in the Crying Game?
Yeah. He was the main character in the crying game.
Are you sure?
Yep. If I'm not mistaken, that might have been his first movie.
No, it wasn't.
No?
He done some street thug roles in 80s films.
Oh, okay.
Robert Townsend.
Oh, horrible. Horrible.
Come on, man.
Ooh.
Robert Townsend.
Horrible actor.
Robert Townsend?
Robert
Yeah.
Townsend's dope.
Horrible. Amazing producer, horrible actor.
Yeah.
Great producer.
Horrible
Five
actor.
Heartbeats.
But
Horrible actor.
he
But he was
never
smart
got
enough
an
not to
Oscar
take. Yeah.
for
What's
the
the
I
movie?
Ain't Got No Weapon.
What's the? Yeah. What's that movie? What's his main movie where he's talking about how horrible? Oh, Hollywood Shuffle.
Hollywood
That movie is
Shuffle.
So great. That movie is
Great
so
movie.
I
great.
mean, he probably should have won an award for Mighty Gwen.
Oh yeah. Yeah. There you go. See.
Yeah, that was a good one. But I think he had problems with Hollywood, though.
There's another guy who was pretty bad. He's not a black guy, though. I'm trying to think of his name.
Oh, Eric Roberts.
No, he used to be like Nanu.
Oh,
He played like
you're
an
not talking
alien
about-
on a TV
You're
show.
not talking about Robin Williams.
Oh, yeah. Supremely horrible.
Nah.
Like one of the worst I've ever seen.
No. Not
The
gonna
only
fall for
good
that
movie
one.
that I liked that he was in was actually one of my favorite movies is Popeye.
I'm not gonna fall for that one.
Other than
I
that,
forgot he played Popeye.
oh, Popeye is dope, bruh.
Yeah, that was a dope movie. I watched that movie
Yeah.
over a million times.
Yeah, Popeye is dope. The rest, nah.
Actually, every movie he was in was dope, pretty much.
Like, who let you keep acting?
Dead Poet Society.
I didn't like
Nope.
Doubtfire.
Well, Doubtfire was kind of corny. But back in those days, it was good though.
We're really gonna go there. We're really gonna pretend like this guy had a great film career.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Hook. Come on, man. Hook.
I think stand-up was better for him.
You didn't watch Hook?
I mean, it had him in it. You think that he was better? He was the best actor in Hook?
Did I say that? Who heard me say
I'm
that?
asking you.
Well, why did it say-
It was with
Why
a
did it say-
question mark. It was with a question mark.
Yeah, but it was a weird question though. Why? Where did it come from?
Because
said,
I'm
did you ever
doubting
watch-
his skills as an actor. That's where it came from. My doubt of his skills as an actor.
Well, it was good enough that he was able to stand up to the other good actors in the movie.
The other one of the greatest actors in the history of acting.
He did his thing in that movie. He didn't make it a stinker. He didn't bring down the movie.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
80-year-old Peter Pan didn't bring down the movie.
80-year-old. He was young back then, dude.
Peter Pan is a kid.
I didn't write the movie. I mean, he didn't write the movie. He just did his thing. But the thing about Robin Williams is he's good at playing a kid. Come on, you're fucking around. You know you love that movie. You know you love Robin Williams.
Nope.
Stop fucking around.
No, I mean, like
1
next thing you know, next thing you know,
1 hour photo was great.
no.
Yeah, you never saw it. What about The World According to Garp? That was
a great movie.
okay.
But John Lithgow was in it.
Finally, well, let's stop saying but. It was a great movie, and we'll just.
I didn't say
leave it
but.
at that.
I said John Lithgow was in it.
Yeah,
That's
he
why it was great. That's what made it great.
No. See, that's like saying but.
No,
That's not-
that is what made it great to me. Not Robin Williams. It's not like saying but. It's giving you why. I don't like Robin Williams. I don't think he was great. That movie was great because of John Lithgow. I call it a John Lithgow movie.